YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and patch 10 has just gone into a public release out of the beta phase, and not a whole lot changed on the patch notes from when it was in beta, but there was a couple of interesting things that dropped, at least it looked like kind of at the last second to me. They introduced a few new units and supposedly rebalanced a few. So let me read you the units first that they supposedly rebalanced a little. It says balancing changes include strength and durability 2, Molossian dogs, Celtic warhounds, mercenary Syrian armored elephants, African elephants, camel cataphracts, snake pot ballista, scorpion pot ballista, and beehive onager. I don't know what they've done to these units. I've looked at them and they look pretty much the same to me. So unless it was a change to base morale and health, which it could be, because I don't recall what these stats were headed. The attack, weapon damage, charge, melee defense, cost, all that stuff seems the same to me on these units. So maybe that's where they changed it, because I don't pay as much attention to those things. But I didn't see any price change to the Syrian elephants. I didn't see any price change to the ballistas or the onager. I didn't see any big changes to the camel cataphracts either. But I mean, I wasn't paying attention to their every last stat. So if you know what those changes are, let me know. Maybe it's some kind of soft change. I can't really figure it out, to be honest. I just don't know. Now, some more exciting news. They added some units to the game, and if you're a fan of either Egypt or Swaby, you have some new units. Or if you're just a fan of new units in general, you have them. Are these units useful? I think they all have their scenarios, except for well, let me just walk through the new units that we have in the order that CA announces them, so that might make a little more sense. So in their press release, they first announced the Wolf Warriors, which is a Swaby club unit, and this is an interesting unit. When you take a look at the, let's get the general out of there so we don't get the stats confused. This is the Wolf Warrior. It has the Headhunt ability, which is really kind of nice, actually. It's got the Scare Everyone ability, too, which I think was previously only held by Berserkers and a few other units. So the Swaby have a lot of Scare units now. The Wolf Warriors, the Berserkers, and the Night Hunters all have that Scare Everyone ability, so you can definitely get some shock out of your Swaby armies. However, here's the thing. I did some testing just real quick against the AI, which I know isn't conclusive, but these guys got destroyed by Roman Legionnaires. Now, they cost less, so I don't expect them to take Roman Legionnaires head-on, but I mean, they got beat. They did get a few kills, but I really see this as a flanking unit. They're relatively cheap, or a unit that you use after softening up a Roman unit or stopping the Roman unit from being able to charge. Also, you could consider that this this unit, in conjunction with the Ario Vistus Pride general ability that increases your AP damage dramatically. That's one other thing to take into account here. These guys actually have a full-on 14 armor piercing damage. So almost all of their small weapon damage is armor piercing, and they have a pretty good melee attack. Pretty good. Really, this is a flank unit. Get it into the flank, it scares enemy units, plus you're flanking, plus it has a decent AP attack. That's where it's going to be most useful. So maybe use some cheap units like Club Levy or Bloodsworn to keep someone's attention in the front, and then outflank with these units, and you could screen them with some relatively cheap spears. That's the way I would see these guys getting used. Swaby, if you do pop the cavalry counter tactics with their spears can become semi-effective against cavalry. So that's one thing, but the Swaby are still going to be very weak in the missile department, so be aware of that. Yeah, so that's Wolf Warriors. The next one that they announced was the Sobek Cultist, and these are some guys supposedly from the cult of Sobek, of course, which was, I guess, some kind of crocodile god. And they have crocodile skins on their head, and the stats on these guys are promising. And for the price, it looks really good. But if you take notice, there's only 60 men in the unit on the large unit settings, which is half of a normal unit. Which means that, once again, not really clear what the purpose of this unit is, other than it scares people. So apparently Egypt has a scare unit besides elephants now. So again, I would recommend this as a flanking unit. Oh, it does come with the Encourage ability. Never mind. So that's a very cheap unit for the Encourage ability to come with. So you could use it to maybe encourage Egyptian pikemen or other cheap units that you're using. So actually I could see this being feasibly a somewhat useful unit. Yeah, so with the Encourage ability and Scare Everyone, it's going to be pretty effective as maybe a flanking force or a support unit. The other unit is also for Egypt, the new one, and it's the Mercenary Leopard Warrior. Now these are very cool looking units. I don't really know what their purpose is yet. They got Frenzied Charge and Rapid Advance, and it really would have been better if these guys would have gotten Cavalry Counter Tactics, because then I think it would have made them more fearsome. But I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I just don't see Frenzied Charge being as useful as Cavalry Counter Tactics for a Spear unit. Frenzied Charge seems like something that Sword or Axe units should have rather than a Spear unit, to be honest. Rapid Advance, that kind of makes sense, but the Rapid Advance needs the Fatigue. I think the Fatigue thing ought to just be taken away. I don't think there should be any extra fatigue. I wish it would be more like the Rapid Advance on Yari Samurai from Shogun 2, and some people might go, well, they can run fast and not even get tired. Well, I know it's unrealistic, but it adds an interesting facet to the gameplay if you have an army that's able to advance across terrain quickly. It just creates an interesting dynamic in battle. That's just my 2 cents. So I'm not really sure what these guys are good for yet. They're pretty expensive, and for the price you pay, you do get a decent unit, that's for sure. But again, I'm just not sure what their use is yet. I think they would be really fun to use in campaign, that's for sure. Same thing with these Sobek cultists and stuff like that. The Wolf Warriors, though, I could see having some potential in multiplayer for sure. And the Suebi, gosh knows they needed some mid-tier unit. They needed this unit. And hopefully we see more units come in for the Suebi later. But yeah, pretty exciting. And I'll just go ahead and end by showing you some of these units in combat. This won't be decisive again, but just for the sake of fun, I'll throw my general into a... I'm going to put him in a good unit because the Suebi general is going to be a very sturdy unit as well. Throw him into a Ptolemaic Cav, and then actually we'll throw a Woden Spears in there. And then I'll switch this over to a Carrion Axeman. There we go. Alright, so that we're all infantry. Anyway, I'm just going to go into the battle screen so you can see this real quick. So patch 10 is live. Let me read off a few of the other things that supposedly it adds. Just real quick, I'll just call off some of the highlights. Additional support for AMD Crossfire multi-GPU configs. So if you're using Crossfire, supposedly more support there. They've done some work on the unlimited video memory option. You can go read about it. I'll put a link to the patch notes in the video description. Battle performance improvements, eliminated battle pathfinding performance spike, addressed crash in siege battle which occurred on some maps after breaching walls, addressed crash in Egyptian large city battle, gameplay improvements. It says fixed an issue which could cause the attacking siege AI to stall. Sorry, I lost my place here. Cause the AI to stall when attempting to breach the walls with artillery, improved coordination of AI defenders in the city and port town battles, addressed an issue which caused disembarked naval AI defenders in siege to become inactive. I think we've all seen that one. So hopefully these things are improved. That's just some of the things that they mentioned there. And yeah, again, if you want to check out all the details, go to the patch notes. It was not a big balancing patch like patch 9 was. But, you know, it's interesting that new units are being added fairly frequently. I think that adds some more flavor to the game, and it's much appreciated. Also, Berserkers got one change that I forgot to mention. Instead of wearing wolf pelts, the Berserkers actually wear bear skins now, and not just for people who have the Beast of War DLC. So, not a performance enhancement to the Berserkers, but a fashion enhancement for the Berserkers. Alright. So I'm just gonna throw my guys into it here. Don't really know if it's actually good to use Frenzied Charge. Just try it. Throw my Carrion Axeman in here. I think my guys are going to get beat, but these Leopard Warriors are actually doing kind of okay. But overall, I expect the Suebi to win this fight because I'm using spear units and a very small unit. Yeah, those Wolf Warriors messed up my Sobek Cultist. As you can see, that's really going to need to be a support unit. Though these Nubian Spearmen got quite a few kills on a unit that was really, for the most part, better in melee. But yeah, you can see that scare effect from the Germans taking its toll on these low morale, or fairly low morale units. The Sobek Cultists were good morale, but they were low in numbers. So yeah, there's a... Oh, I didn't get you any close-ups either. Whoops. Should have done a rematch. Let's go back in there so I can get you close-ups on each unit. My bad. My bad, folks. And also, I haven't showed you the camo cataphracts from the Beast of War release, so I will show you that real quick as well. Let me go get you some close-ups on these guys real quick. So I did some quick testing on these other units. Like I said, they said that they changed, like the Molossian dogs, all that stuff. I really couldn't see any difference. If you know what the difference is, please let me know in the comments, so that we can, inform everybody. Let's get you some close-up views real quick. So right here we've got my stupid Carrion Axemen. Here's the Leopard Warriors. Those guys are pretty awesome. Got the leopard skins and the sweet shields there. And then we got the Sobek Cultist here with the sweet crocodile head draped over him. Very cool unit, but again, as you saw, kind of a strange one as far as what it gets used for in battle. And then here's your Wolf Warriors right here for the Swaby. You can see they have clubs in their hand. Low armor, decent shield. Shield won't help much against missiles though, so if you're playing against the Swaby, that's actually the one time when bows become pretty handy, because a lot of Swaby units are low armor and they are extremely vulnerable to missiles, and bows are actually somewhat useful against the Swaby. Don't know if you all really thought through that, but it definitely is something that you should keep in mind. Let me show you the Camel Cataphracts real quick before we go to. So let me switch over to the Parthians, because that's who is in possession of the Camel Cataphracts. I'll bring 4 of them, throw in a Royal Cataphract Djinn, and then we'll get some, let's see, what would be a fun unit to test it against? Let's just test it against regular Cataphracts, actually. So I'll bring Bactria and bring some Hellenic Cataphracts. Oh, I can't bring the General as a Hellenic Cataphract, so I'll switch over to Seleucids, actually, where I can get a Hellenic Cataphract General. Give me just a moment. Yeah, Hellenic Cataphracts. And let's see, I need 5 total. Alright, so cost, the Camel Cataphracts, let's see, are 1210, and the Seleucid Hellenic Cataphracts are 14, so if they win this fight, they would be cost effective against such things. Camels supposedly have a scare horses effect, so that hopefully we'll see that play in. Both of these are heavy shot cav units, though, with a lot of armor. I want to say the Hellenic Cataphracts probably have higher health, though. I forgot to look. We can mouse over and figure it out here in a minute. Just gonna walk forward so my guys don't get tired at all. Let's actually hit play just so I can look at their stats. So 90 armor, 100 health, 65 morale, as opposed to a Hellenic Cataphract, 90, 125. Yeah, so quite a bit more health on a Hellenic Cataphract, and a little bit higher base armor. But we do get that scare horses effect right here, so we'll see how that plays in. Not to mention we'll see whether or not the AI cooperates in giving me a decent fight here. Sometimes they get terrible charges because they like to split up all over the place. Okay. Yeah, they screwed up my charge over here. But I got a few good charges. I'll take one Camel Cataphract over here and try and run down their general. Camel Cataphract's getting beat bad in the center here where they're outnumbered, or at least their morale's hurting for some reason. AI is doing some weird disengagement stuff. Let's see. So these Camel Cataphracts went pretty well head-to-head with these guys. Losing at the moment. Losing slightly. But it looks like that fight might be getting turned around a little. Hard to say how it would go, and again, the AI doesn't cooperate with charges, so this isn't really a decisive test. Their guys are tired from Stampede, or from Trample. My guys are tired from Trample. The morale on the Seleucid units is definitely faltering around some here. And I wonder if I can use a war cry and see if we can take advantage of that. Yeah, sure enough, look at that. The morale penalty definitely weighs in. You can see the morale's clear down to 50 after that war cry. It's a passive effect, so I don't guess we see the frightened horses, yeah. So it does have an effect. That unit routed with 48 men left. Huh. Yeah, apparently it could potentially be a fairly devastating effect on morale. Of course, my general just died, which is going to have a devastating effect on my men.
Awaiting orders.
Yeah, well, this is a heavy versus heavy fight. So anyway, Camel Cataphracts are probably best used, I'm guessing, as a supplemental unit. I mean, for less money, they're standing up to pretty expensive units fairly well, in my opinion. But again, this is the AI. They tend to screw things up as far as cooperating.
Our men flee the
Looks like the
field
Hellenic
of battle.
Cataphracts are better
This is a shameful display.
in most respects. So, but yeah, an interesting unit because of that scare ability. Throw them in the back of a cab fight, maybe get a flanking force, and all of a sudden you would have some potentially frightening results, I think. And that fight continues to drag out, even though my general died. So, anyway, I'll go ahead and concede defeat. You all have seen pretty much what there is to see there in that battle, and that's the units. So, patch 10 update summary. You got 3 new units that got thrown in there, which I think is kind of the most fun news. Egypt got Sobek Cultist and mercenary Numidian Leopard Warriors, and then the Suebi got the Wolf Warriors. So nice additions there from CA. Pretty excited about the Hannibal at the Gates release, other than the fact that it's just the Hannibal at the Gates release. Supposedly there's a significant content update, is what we've been told, that's going to release with the game that is not dependent upon you buying the DLC. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But if you're looking for a copy of the DLC, go back and check out my video, because I'm giving away 10 of them on the 25th of March. So tune in and go check out that video. All you have to do is submit me an epic screenshot. Again, go look at the video for details. I'd be happy to give you a copy if you submit a winning screenshot. Pretty excited about that, and I hope you all are too. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.